Alright everybody, welcome to the channel. This is Captain Jonathan. We are replacing our controller on our Lectro tab trim tabs. This should be a really easy job. Should be only like one crash out. I've already had one crash out just finding the right socket because they used a 9mm. So naturally I grabbed an 8 and a 10, but it's a 9. We'll show you this better on the outside. All I'm doing down here is removing 2 nuts from the back of this plate, and then we'll show you how it works on the back side. So, all right, catch you in that second. Yep. All right, so we're inside, so you can kind of see what we're looking at. This is it's kind of hard to get to, but anyways, that's the back side of the controller switch. So I gotta take off, there's 1 nut right here, and 1 nut right up here, just 2. And then all these wires were connected. I made sure, of course, turn off your battery first before you disconnect those. Whenever you're trying to figure out if it's your controller or your trim tab actuators, you hook up 12 volts directly to this. With one of these tabs, if you hear your actuators move, it's not your actuators, it's your controller. So we did that before we ordered the new controller. So today we're just putting in the new controller. So let me take these 2 nuts out, and then we'll get on the back top side of the boat and go from there. Okay, so got those 2 nuts off of there. So now it's time to pull this off, and we discovered something that's very unique. So the new instructions say very clearly on them to put a bit of silicone around this to keep water intrusion from happening. But if you notice right down here, there's no silicone, which is probably what caused this one to fail. This is actually the second one of these to fail. So we'll definitely put the silicone on the way it says to. The problem is you should have enough wires to pull through, which will make wiring this a whole heck of a lot easier. But I don't have that much extra wire. Sportsman did a really good job installing it. The wire is tight, but the drawback is I can't pull them through this particular hole. So I'm gonna have to install it, go on the other side, and go from there. So what we're gonna do first is I'm gonna cut open the silicone. We'll get that put on, stick that, get that tightened up good so the silicone adheres the way it's supposed to, and then we'll get started putting the new one on. All right, catch you later. Okay, so I'm using 3M marine adhesive, the 4000 fast cure, primarily just because I want this to happen quickly, and it's what my son picked up. As that said, we're gonna put this on the new controller around the edge. Of course, you can pretty easily tell which one's new, which one's old. Made a pretty small cut at the top so my bead doesn't get crazy as I do this. And by the way, I am terrible. I do mean terrible at siliconing, but it is unfortunately just part of owning a boat. But like I said, it does not appear that Sportsman from the factory did this little step, or the previous person that replaced this for me the last time did this step. So I'm hoping that maybe this tab controller will last a little bit longer. And this is the problem with making a small hole in your tip. You cannot get the stupid stuff to come out. Make sure I don't get this on the electrical connectors, but make sure I get enough in the divot that it actually makes a difference. This has got to be some riveting YouTube video content right here.
I think we'll just fast forward through this, you know, speed it up.
Okay, does that look horrible? Yes. Does it matter? No, because it's gonna be underneath where no one is going to see. The most important thing for me at this step is to make sure the all up and the all down is where it belongs. So I'm not gonna set that too aggressively right now. I'm just gonna set it there so that whenever I tighten it down in a minute, I can do that. Lectro tab provide these little nylon washers to like hand thread this thing on. Only issue with that is that where mine is sitting on the back of the dash, there is absolutely, and I mean absolutely no way I can get my fingers all the way up in there and get this tight. So I'm gonna use a little 9mm nylon nut to do this, and then we'll show you how to wire it up. I'm not gonna get back underneath the console. I hate getting underneath consoles, so it is what it is. Let's get under there. My biggest complaint about the Sportsman 232 that I have run for 10 years now is I do not fit in this console. But that's my fault. I'll be just fine for you. So here we go. that works. Tie the door open and then we go. So now, from what we had earlier, metal mounting bracket, I'm gonna put on this. I'm gonna have to ask Tristan to hold it on the other end so that it doesn't get out of the way when we do this. So we'll stop filming now and then I'll show you what I did in here. So Tristan, just hold it in place. All right, so if you notice here, this is the way it said for long wire actuators, which is what I have. I'm not using the remote station connection at all. You'll notice on this particular item, or this one, you'll show that it is fine. But anyways, long story short, up in here is what we got. We've got our, from the factory, hot wire on the top switch, and then our ground in the middle. And then our hot wire down. Whoop, I'm sorry, it was terrible. Man, that's hard to see. Anyways, hot, ground, hot, and then it goes on the outside, black, white, then black, white. And I hope I remembered the order they were hooked up in. Obviously, it's the opposite of whatever you push on the screen. So if you want your starboard to go down, your port actually goes down. If you want your port to go react, then your starboard goes down. We'll test that in just a second. So hopefully this is all done. We'll turn the battery switch on, blow no fuses, and we'll have working trim tabs again. See you topside. Well, okay. All right, so I don't know if you turned, did you film all that with the turn on? So yeah, we heard the trim tabs working, so that makes me happy. So now what we're gonna have to do is we're gonna have to let, we'll have to try this out to make sure they're working the way they should. Ours are rigged up to the key, so when we turn them on, just the lights turn on, which is what we want. I'm gonna have Tristan push the bow down button on the port side, which means the starboard side should go down. So I'm gonna go back there on the back of the boat. Tristan, you do that, let's see what happens. Looks good. All right, do the other side. All right, that looks good. Hit the all down button. Okay, hit the all up button. All right, so that was, we started at 3:45. That was the collecting tools and everything. It's 4:15, we still have to do cleanups. So that was a 30-minute repair. And honestly, if I had just been a little bit more knowledgeable and knowing that there was a 9mm on the back of that thing, that would have saved me at least 5 minutes. So on my personal crash outs, I would rank that as a half a crash out of 5. We call it 5 as a should have hired a professional. 1 is can do it yourself. I would say this is a half crash out for me, just because I couldn't figure out the stupid socket size, which when you're up inside a console is really annoying. So the next things we gotta do to the boat, we gotta fix the anchor light, if I can find the new anchor light. And then this T-top has a rattle we've been trying to get rid of for years. So we're gonna try to fix that issue as well. Maybe not today because it's getting dark. But that is it for the trim tabs. They're done, they're working. Looking forward to going on the water tomorrow and hopefully catch or find some new spots. So that's it. Thanks for tuning in.